Hey man, how's it going?
Greetings. Good, man. You're a little like robot-y, but that's okay.
That's cool. Maybe I'll turn off the camera. Is that better?
Yeah, that's better, I think. So,
Yeah,
it was better for the
let's see
short
how it
term.
goes.
We'll see if it's better for the long term. Okay. Well, I mean, either way, I can hear you. I can understand you. So,
All good, all
um,
good. So I've just sent through the three IDs of the game.
I see those.
Uh, ready to rock and roll. I have some chicken on the side and ready to get punished.
Nice, man. That's what we like to hear in the BSJ, BDSM. I mean, coaching, chess, and channel. So, yeah, man. What's your MMR? Why are you here?
So I'm about 3.4.
Okay.
I've actually played for a very long time, so almost a decade on and off. But in the past 2 years, I think I've been a bit more serious. So, you know, starting to watch competitive Dota, thinking about playing rank, starting to, in the past 6 months, probably a bit more focused on like understanding the technical aspects of improving. So my role currently is really switching between carry and offlane,
Okay.
with the purpose of climbing solo MMR. So I've been playing SEA for most of my life, but I've recently started playing in EU West because I'm in Dubai now. The three matches that I've added is Enchantress and Phoenix offlane and Spectre carry. So I guess what I'm really hoping to learn more about is, you know, how to think um, as a better Dota player.
Okay.
And as you start thinking about different scenarios, how can I be a bit more versatile and not sort of, play the same build and strategy every single time I go into game?
Gotcha. Yeah, no, that sounds good, man. Cool. Do you have a preference on what game you want to start with, or just go in order from top to bottom?
Uh, Enchantress is a game that we lost. So Enchantress is I normally play. I've watched a couple of quite a few competitive videos on how to play Enchantress early game, but my challenge with her is I don't know how to transition from mid to late. With Spectre and Phoenix, again, I watch a lot of replays and competitive Dota, and I feel as though it's just how can I sort of fine tune, these sort of micro points. So why don't we start off with Phoenix,
Okay.
and then Enchantress and Spectre?
Okay, Phoenix, then Enchantress, then Spectre. Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. Let's gotcha. Oh, what? The ID you gave me. Oh, you must have misclicked or miscopied this ID, the Phoenix one.
All right. What did it say?
It says it's from source one, so it's clearly not the right ID. I think you're missing a
Right.
digit because it's supposed to be 10 digits and it's 9.
All right. Let me double check that. Just have photos of it. Um, yeah. Sorry, that was wrong. 410.
Match time 2013. uh,
What time is it for you over there?
10 a.m.
6.
Okay, yeah, it looks like you were just missing a digit. Okay, cool. Okay, so you're Phoenix. You're against what's probably a Bristle or Necro safe lane. And wait, no, are you offlane Phoenix here? Is this Jungle Enigma or what?
Offlane Phoenix with offlane Enigma.
Like it's a support Enigma?
Yeah, support Enigma. He basically went through to jungle and wrote and off. He went to jungle after like 5 minutes. But for
Okay.
me, it was just
But he
early
actually
impact.
supported you for the first like 5 minutes of the game.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. So generally speaking, you know what? I'm gonna pull up again real quick. Actually,
Do you mind if you screen share?
oh
I'm
yeah, I
just
do have to do
gonna.
that. No, it's not that I mind. I just forget sometimes. Okay, first
Yeah,
session of
all
the
good.
day. I forgot. So generally, from what I see on Phoenix, oh man, honestly, I've watched a lot of offlane Phoenix, but I haven't paid close attention to the technical stuff. So I'm gonna leave this be. I'm gonna leave this be because I'm gonna watch. I'm mainly gonna focus on the general aspects of offlaning rather than specifically to
Sure.
Phoenix, because I have watched Phoenix offlane and I know what it ends up playing like, but I haven't paid attention to like exact item builds and stuff, or exact like starting items and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so let's see. You can see, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just a bit choppy, but I sort of get the point.
Okay. Whenever I have something to show you, I'll make sure you see it multiple times so that
All good, bro.
it is understood. Okay, so this is party queue, so you guys are actually like working together on denies and stuff.
Yeah,
You're actually using creep aggro. Go ahead.
Yeah, we're all bunch of friends. We actually don't get to play a lot together. So I normally play solo because it's the first time we played together in almost, I think, 9 months.
Okay, gotcha.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
One thing that I always sort of think about is, do I pick Phoenix first or do I pick it, in the third or fourth pick? Because it's, do counters actually matter at this level? So I think on average we're playing at a 3.5, 4K bracket.
Is under attack.
Yeah, it depends on what you're trying to accomplish with your Phoenix pick. And what I mean by that is if you're trying to really learn Phoenix and you're just picking Phoenix, then I think it's better to just pick it early on. If you feel like Phoenix is one of your best like 4 heroes, then I leave those heroes to just be picked when they're good. If that makes sense, meaning like I'll pick them. I mean, if I have to pick early because nobody else is picking or something, then yeah, I'll go to my comfort zone heroes as well. But like, say they haven't revealed anything and you want your support to pick first, or if like you're going to pick first, I usually lean towards picking heroes I'm just trying to learn. So I don't know where Phoenix is at on that spectrum for me, for you. How many games of Phoenix do you have?
Not many, I think like 30. So
Okay.
I actually used to play a lot of, because I didn't play that actively, so I just first I'd pick carry as my comfort pick. But recently I've started thinking about playing offlane, so sort of diversifying
Gotcha.
a bit of my role. So it's sort of like having that mirror balance of understanding what the carry is thinking about, but also how can I counterplay and
Yeah, I think carry and offlane are good lanes to are good roles to interchange between simply because you lane against each other. But I think the thing is, real quick, is if you're going to play carry and offlane, are you like 50-50 or are you like 70-30? Or like what's the deal?
No. Right now it's actually mostly offlane.
Okay.
So maybe like 80-20 with offlane as my core pick.
So my only opinion on that is like if you're going to play less carry, that all of your carry games are like 2 heroes. Like a total of like 2 or 3 heroes until you feel like you've like really mastered those heroes. In your opinion.
Right now it's really meta picks, so it's PL and Spectre.
That's fine.
To carry, and offlane is Phoenix, Enchantress, occasionally Weaver and Axe.
Okay, gotcha. No, those are good pools. Okay, so no complaints on that. So I'm just bringing our first lesson point. I actually mentioned that I don't talk about this too much anymore on coaching sessions, but I can tell a lot about a player with camera perspective. When you look at someone's camera perspective, you tell me what matters to them, because whatever matters to them is on their camera. Like it's really that simple, right? So the issue, I'm not gonna get cute with my first statement today. There should never be a single enemy CS that goes missing off your camera. That's the ideal world. Do you see the problem that why I stopped this?
Yeah.
Right. Do I need you?
Have
Go ahead.
You have like a stray creep. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, you have a creep that I never saw in your perspective. I never know when it's gonna die, and you're not even gonna be in range of it when it dies. But most importantly, I don't even know when it's dying because of your camera perspective. So That's what I'm trying to emphasize should never happen. Every single creep is a decision. So like that's something you like you said you want to learn technical stuff. This is technical. Like every single creep's a decision. What I mean by that is, am I creep aggroing it? Like, am I able to get the CS? Am I going to harass instead of the CS? Like, what is the choice going to be every time a creep's about to die? And the last thing I need to see is you just having no choice because you don't even know it's dying. You see what I'm saying? So first step is every single creep. The goal is, and eventually is attainable, by the way. Like, this is an obtainable goal, is to have 100% of creeps in your field of vision when they're dying.
Yeah, I actually have noticed that about, like, now that you bring it up, when I aggro, I think I would aggro maybe 2 or 3 at times. That's a good one.
Yeah, no, it's important because like whenever you aggro or you're doing like more like I like doing mechanics that you're not 100% comfortable on, I guess you could say, you're gonna forget to do random things. So like this is a mechanic where if you're practicing aggro, it's perfect to then also just say every time I aggro, I'm gonna try to make sure I keep track of whatever I changed. You know, like where the creeps are and stuff. So like right now, your hero's backing up, right? Your intent is I'm salving, I'm backing up. Camera on creeps dying, okay? You know what I'm saying? Like that should be the focus. So like if you're backing up and you then have the focus on creeps dying, you see there's 2 enemy creeps dying here. You're not going to want to break your salve, but you don't want to be out of XP range. You could be healing right here rather than back here. You're just going to miss 2 creeps. And all laning is just min-maxing, right? That's all it is. So all of these mistakes so far have come down to your camera control, which is just something, like you said, will suffer when you're busy trying to learn new things or practice new things. But can you see what I'm seeing where, like, this is the last time I'm going to mention it because I just want to make sure. Do you see what I'm seeing right now of how hard it is to know what's going on in the lane? From your perspective?
Yeah.
Okay. Because, like, I actually have a really hard time knowing what the lane equilibrium is, when creeps are dying, all that kind of stuff, based on only using your perspective. It's really hard to tell. And that is implying that your camera control just needs to, like, your focus on your camera control needs to shift.
Yeah, no, that's actually a good point because I'm just trying to think, is it because I'm trying to block the creep coming down? And should that be a priority over understanding where the positioning of the creeps are?
There should be no single priority of getting anything over missing XP and last hits. There's no, in this current patch, there's no single priority greater than missing XP and last hits. That's all there is to it. So, like, I'm telling you that's the #1 priority. And so, if you originally thought blocking creeps is more important than getting those 2 melee creeps, that could be another potential cause of this. So I'm telling you now, just to clarify, getting XP or last hits is the most important thing in this patch, and your camera control should demonstrate that to me or anyone else watching. Okay, so it does matter because the thing is, they think about like missing CS and stuff as like the simple action of going for the last hit. I think of missing CS first and foremost. You have to set yourself up to go for that in the first place, and that there's a lot of different factors that different people can do. Like right now, range creep dying. I don't care if you're not going to get it, but it's dying, and I didn't see it die. Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't mind how you play that overall, though. It's just rehashing that. We're going to probably stop mentioning that.
No, it's actually a pretty interesting point because that's going to shift a lot of my thinking moving forward about prioritizing XP and like XP and being in position over not.
Exactly. And I just want to tell your friend, if he's listening, like, you don't do this on Enigma. Like, you just level Eidolons and deny creeps. But
yeah, he's been out of action for 12 months. So.
Okay, that triggers me, but I'm letting it go. So, you know, I understand if he's been out of action for a little while. Okay. Okay. This lane is some shit. Okay. So there's just like a level 7 Bloodseeker here. Okay. This is something you'll never really see in solo queue, but nothing wrong with it. Just you won't really see it in solo queue. Okay.
Yeah, we actually had a very big discrepancy between MMR. So you had, I think, lowest 1.5, highest 4. So you had like, you know, the high players and then low players. So,
Okay, gotcha. So I'm only harping on camera control again because it's a different reason that camera control is bad. So it's so funny to me. I just want to point out to you and everyone else watching how many like people will have really good camera control and then I won't see them use creep aggro like a single time ever. And I'm like, oh, well, creep aggro is your main issue. And like for you, I've seen you use creep aggro several times, and then your camera control is terrible. So I'm telling you right now, first and foremost, your camera control is terrible. So like just so right now, I'm not gonna get cute. Okay, sorry, I like getting cute, but I'm not gonna get cute. There's just so much wasted space. This doesn't do anything. You see what I'm saying? Like your camera in an ideal situation with you farming right here should be. It should be like this. Do you see why?
Because you're looking, as in you're looking for potential people who can swoop in from that corner.
Yeah, you don't give a shit about anything over here. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
All I'm trying to say is like, first and foremost, seeing things that are important, like meaning like not missing creeps. That's like the first step. Second step is not seeing things that don't do anything. Like, so if you're in a lane, right, and I'm against heroes that are normal heroes, meaning like they're not gonna like be sitting in the trees like Coddle or something. Do these trees matter at all, right? Like they just don't matter. Nothing over here matters. And you have to know that. So then you move the camera away from that. So it's like, it's not necessarily saying right now that you're missing anything, but you could miss something because your camera's like this. Or like whatever, like this. Like, if your camera is getting rid of dead space, you're just, like, that much more likely to see stuff that's happening.
Yeah.
So, your camera perspective also tells me what you're expecting, like, because right now nothing's happening, right? So, like, before you were missing something that was currently happening. Now nothing's actually happening, but you're telling me, since nothing is happening, that the next thing that's going to happen is somewhere over here. When I'm saying it's much more likely to be here, like in terms of overall field of vision. Do you see what I'm saying here?
No, I understand.
Okay, perfect.
I don't even think that's like a mental thing. It must be like this zone out bad habit.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? So I'm just like, I'm fixated on the hero being at the center of the screen. That might be the case.
Okay.
Because like this whole concept, it's not even like.
It's something you've never... So I want to be clear that this is usually when I present this type of stuff to people, like creep aggro or your camera, like maybe people know camera movement, maybe people know creep aggro, but they don't realize why it's so important. So I want you to focus on the aspects of, I'm telling you, seeing things that are important, so creeps and stuff missing. So like making sure in your mind, the reason why you need to focus on camera control is seeing everything that's dying. And then also, whenever nothing's happening, whatever you're looking at on screen, whenever you see a streamer like do this, like so say they're the Phoenix and they do this or this, you know, like they're checking a specific lane. Like when I'm Terrorblade, if you watch my replay of Terrorblade, like I'm not going to go into it, but if you watch my replay, like I'm watching the Zeus's level, or I'm watching Zeus a lot. Why am I watching Zeus a lot when I'm Terrorblade? Because that's the hero that counters me. So I'm going to look at his stuff a lot. Like that's what I care about, is that hero. And like in the early game, I'm checking Spectre's level 6 and all that kind of stuff. Like all I'm saying about camera is it's telling you if something's currently happening, it's telling me what you're concerned about, what's already happening right now. Meaning if you're busy, if you're in like a 1v1 lane where you're contesting the guy, you're telling me what's important to you. So that's when creep should be important to you. When there's nobody here, you're telling me what's important to you about what you're concerned about happening next. That's what I'm trying to say. So think about it that way with your camera. Okay, so a little unfortunate you just didn't dive, but I see like you were gonna dive and then he blinked on you. Don't really worry about those kind of things, in my opinion. That's just you don't have to tell me to tell you that was wrong.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think another thing is like when I think about when I'm sort of scouting and clicking across enemy heroes or different parts of the map, how much do I need to actually understand where the situation is? Because I think one thing I've been working on this year is, quotation marks, map awareness, right?
Yeah.
And it's really trying to understand what does map awareness actually mean and what are best practices for map awareness.
Okay. Yeah, man. So this is a good subject. I don't talk about this too much. So, what I've realized is, I just got recently flamed for like not checking enemy heroes items, or ally hero items actually. Sorry, teammates items is what I got flamed for. I got flamed for by Sumail and Artur that I never even checked my teammates items, and so for me, that was like a rare. Okay, so I got flamed for not having map awareness so much, like 3.5 years ago, and it was true. Like it really was. I'm not like denying it. So I've had to go through that whole experience in the last 3 years or so, of really trying to understand what that actually means. Because it's like for like the player that's trying to get more serious about Dota, or for like honestly the average viewer, they hear this word map awareness, but they don't actually or this term, but they don't actually like know what that means. So like, other than knowing I'm supposed to be knowing what's going on the map, like that's about all they know. So like map awareness wise, like to give you an example from my game, right? I say Terrorblade. I'm in my own safe lane, right? So I was actually laning against Tree Spectre, okay? So my map awareness that has to do with my own lane is where Tree is, okay? Because any trade I take with Spectre is really bad if I get hit by Tree from Invis and then leech seeded and Spectre walks up and hits me. But anytime that Tree is not in range, then I am good to trade with Spectre. So my map awareness in that situation relies on knowing where Tree is to make the proper decisions. And then it's like at 5 minutes into the game, suddenly I'm thinking to myself, what's the immediate threat to me on the map? How am I actually going to die? So a potential Grimstroke roam from the safe lane, like because it was offlane Tree Spectre. I'm like, okay, maybe if Grimstroke comes to them from the safe lane, but also Zeus 6, right? So like couldn't Zeus 6 affect my decisions with Spectre and Tree, right? Because if I'm like going for some man up play on Tree Spectre and I'm like, calculating in my mind, like I have a general idea of what my hero's limits are, and I'm about to kill Spectre and suddenly I get Zeus ultied, that changes everything, right? So map awareness is being aware of like what affects you on the map. Honestly, that sounds so simple, but like who affects you? How do they affect you? How does that change your decisions? Okay, so when I'm going to trade with Spectre Tree at 5 minutes into the game and I'm thinking to myself, you're going to see me, if you watch my player perspective in this game, you're going to see me check the scoreboard somewhere around 5 or 6 minutes to see what level Zeus is, okay? And every time I'm about to make a decision about whether or not I'm going to go on Spectre Tree, I'm going to look and see where Zeus is. Like, it's just that simple. Like, or I'm going to look at my mini-map to see if I see Zeus. And there's a couple times where they'll be aggressive on me, and I'll look at my minimap, and maybe Zeus just showed, okay? But I'm not checking my minimap every 4 seconds, right? But I look at my minimap and I don't see Zeus. So that's in a party queue game, I would say, hey guys, where's Zeus? But in a solo queue game, I'm kind of stuck saying, like, I can ask, but usually people don't respond. So I'll just wait until I see Zeus again before I'm willing to walk up in lane or something like that. Lastly, just to clarify this last point, is what can I... Okay, so this is an example, right? I'm trying to give you examples because there's no better way to do it in my opinion. If I'm against Spectre Tree and I'm concerned about Zeus ulti, what adjustment can I make, either skill build or item-wise, to account for that?
Alright, so Tree will probably be popping in and out of Invis. Zeus will probably come over when he has a rune. So you would be playing safe lane Radiant, so bottom right hand side. So hold on, I'm just looking at your lineup. So you probably have an IO on your side. In safe lane.
No, it's a silencer. It's silencer.
Silencer. So you wouldn't have had a stick because that would have been too much burst. Maybe droplets.
Okay, there you go.
That would have been a waste of your spend, but
you figured it out though. Like I'm saying, you got there. Okay, So these are the kind of things. So I bought raindrops this game. Okay, so like
Yep.
if you watch, I actually do buy a stick, by the way, but it's not for exactly this same reason. If you see this game, I buy raindrops. I buy a stick and raindrops for that adjustment. Those raindrops get depleted. Guess what? Another set of raindrops. Okay, because like I'm a level 7 Terrorblade with like 600 health. Okay, like. So if I have 600 health with no raindrops, I effectively against Zeus have like 480 health, which is like shit, okay? Like that's terrible. So this raindrop effectively increases my health pool by a shit ton in this game, okay? So I don't usually buy raindrops twice, but I know that Zeus incredibly impacts my lane and game if I don't buy raindrops, okay? So like that's an example of map awareness. It's not just camera control. It's not just like being aware of where people are. And then you mentioned runes. That is a great point. So at 5.5 to 6 minutes into the game, isn't that a great time as I'm Terrorblade to check mid? Right? Like to check and see where he is. If it's 6 minutes or it's like 6:10 into the game and I look at the minimap and I see Zeus missing, what am I afraid of?
Him coming over with like a
haste rune or an invis. Exactly, right? So if I don't see him, and that's a situation where I may ask my mid, but I also am just going to wait for him to show up mid again. Because if I don't wait for him to show up mid, and I just like walk out as normal, and he does have a rune in the bottom lane, and I'm just going to die, right? So like that's map awareness. Like he threatens me. When would he come to my lane? How does he kill me? Like that is map awareness. So in this game, for you, every time you're making a decision, you would be thinking, do you care about Bristleback?
not at the moment.
Okay, not at the moment. You don't give a shit. Do you really care about OD? Right now.
OD and a +1.
But like,
Right now, no, because he's dead. So
as long as you have dive, do you care about OD?
Yeah.
Like, if OD walks behind you or OD TP's in, do you give a shit about that hero as long as you have dive?
No, I don't care.
Do you give a shit about that hero if you don't have dive?
Yes, I do.
Okay, that's map awareness. Like, meaning, whenever okay, so this is another version of map awareness. If I have dive, who am I afraid of? If I don't have dive, who am I afraid of?
Yeah.
Concerning yourself with those heroes when those situations apply, okay? So, like, certain heroes with escape mechanics, you know what I'm saying? So, like, if I'm a Quap and I just recently blinked away in mid lane, there's heroes on the map that don't threaten me whenever I have blink, like roaming supports or something like that. But there are heroes that threaten me when I don't have blink. So, what does that list increase to? You know what I'm saying? And then if suddenly that hero's missing, excuse me, I have hiccups all of a sudden. And, that list increases, you know what I'm saying? So, like, that's an example of, like, if I don't have dive and they start going aggressive on me, I don't see OD, I'm like, oh, I can't fight them here because I don't know where OD is, and because I don't have dive, I can't fight them. That's 7K, 8K level of decision-making. I would begin with you knowing who threatens you when you have dive. You know what I'm saying? That's a first step. So, for you, that's Ricky. That should change every decision you make. Certain games, there's nobody, okay? But as long as you thought to yourself about who would threaten you and came to no conclusions, then that's good. So I don't mind this play because you have 6. You have somebody to take over your lane. But you're not exactly going to okay, I guess you have a lion. So this is fine. I actually don't mind this play. Because you have, most importantly about this play, is if there was nobody on your team to do this, this is really bad. Just pointing this out to you. Okay. As the only reason I approve of this is because you have somebody in your team taking your lane. Okay? I just want to be very clear. It's not like worth 4-man ganking this Bristleback with no support taking the offlane in this patch. It's just not worth it.
Yeah.
But since you have an urn, you got some charges, and you have somebody taking over your lane for you, then this was fine. So the next step, when you're an offlaner or a carry, when you rotate lanes like this, what are things for you conceptually that you think about? So I'm talking about you rotated lanes, you got the kill, what goes through your mind now?
Yeah, I mean, now that you pointed out, I'm kind of like, okay, that would have wasted a teleport to top lane, and it's kind of like, do I walk back to bottom lane? Because I don't have enough to farm creeps, but should I be pushing? But then I also don't have a pushing lineup as well.
Okay.
And I'm wondering, and maybe it goes back to your point, maybe I should have thought 2 steps ahead, being, okay, if I did kill Bristleback, do I just waste, a minute and a half walking, a minute walking back to offlane? But I think what was going through my head is I still had my ulti and I needed to collect my own charges. So I could have had some sort of impact with that.
Okay.
So what would have gone through my head is, okay, should I wait for the respawn or someone to go back to the top lane and fight again?
Okay. So all the things you're thinking about are like that's good points, honestly. I'm going to say that's good points. You're close, but it's not correct. That's what I'm going to say right now. So, have you watched any of my coaching sessions in the past? I just need context.
Yeah, I have.
Okay.
So 3 or 4 videos.
After I kill somebody or I make a play of some sort, something significant happens. I just killed a tower, I just killed somebody. What is the most important thing on this entire screen of information?
As in at that particular point?
You just killed the guy.
So you have the 10-minute runes, so you get the top and bottom.
Okay, so the most important thing I'm trying to tell you is this timer.
Yeah.
That's okay, so I want to be clear to you and everyone why I'm saying this. This entire screen of yours is information. 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 You know what I'm saying? So all Dota is there are so many forms of information being thrown at you at once, at all times, and you have to know which ones are important. So map awareness comes down to situational awareness of matchups and all that kind of stuff. This example is simply put, you kill somebody, the most important information on your screen is first, second. First, second, okay? You see why those are the most important, right? So, immediately, what do you remember what you do after this kill?
Yeah, I think I went to the enemy side to get the rune.
Oh, you went to get your wand. Okay.
Oh, did I?
You went and got a wand. So, do you see how terribly inefficient it was after a kill what you just did? You just took 20 seconds when there was a rune spawning in 20 seconds, and you have not done a single thing else than that to get a wand, okay? So, this is where the flame comes in, okay? So, I don't mind your rotation. It's really this simple. So, I'm now going to present you with the 7 to 8K version of what should go through your mind after you got this kill, and your goal is over time to work towards this, okay? That's your goal, okay? So I'm going to give you possible factors to consider. So, you rotated to this Weaver's lane. Got a kill. Boom, nailed it. You got the kill. Play's over, meaning you have now gotten the play. How much longer should you now be thinking about that kill? 0 seconds.
None.
Okay, so you have 9:39. Are you pushing this tower?
No.
Okay. Are you laning with this Weaver?
No.
Okay. Are you taking the Weaver's lane? Are you swapping? No. Okay. Is he a hero that wants to leave this area? No. Okay. Got it. So, we're not pushing the tower. We're not taking his lane. So, is it an option to stay here?
No.
Okay. What is our immediate next objective? Important thing to get done on the map.
Go get the rune?
Okay, go get the rune. So where do you want to be at 10 minutes? Here or here, right? One of these two spots. The next question is, where's everyone else? What's my health status? What decides between this rune and this rune of which one I'm at?
Whether or not I have the swoop.
Yeah, really, right? Can you walk up to this rune with no dive?
No.
No. So, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I can't.
No.
I don't think I could have, but at this like bracket level, I probably could have and swooped away if I were to get attacked. But I think you're right.
Okay, no, I'm being clear. 21 seconds from now, are you going to have your swoop?
No.
No. So can you go to that rune 21 seconds from now?
No.
No. Okay. So this is what I'm thinking myself. I'm thinking I want to be at the runes. We did the first stuff. I want to be at the runes. Okay. I'm choosing between this rune and this rune. In both games, map awareness, like meaning like every game you play, but both situations. This rune is simply more greedy than this one, right? Like that's more aggressive. Okay. Then I have to decide which one's better, or which one am I allowed to do? Sorry, not which one's better. Which one am I allowed to do? The ideal situation is to go to this one. Second, okay, so the most aggressive play here. Second most aggressive play here. What determines whether or not I can be aggressive? If I walk here, based on who's missing, okay? So OD's the only one showing. So if any combination of the missing heroes kills me at this rune, am I allowed to go there?
No.
I don't care what bracket you're in. This is the difference, okay?
Yeah.
In your bracket, people are going to make mistakes, but it doesn't change the potential on their heroes, okay? Like, their heroes are still potentially able to do the same things that a 7K player could do. That ogre could potentially be at this rune with a stun, kill you with the Ricky, okay? So, you have to assume they're doing things unless they prove otherwise. The thing about your bracket is people prove a lot of times unnecessarily that they're not doing something. Meaning, like, they'll show 3 heroes in a lane randomly, or like a place where Ricky should be, he isn't because he's showing somewhere else. You know, like that's the thing. That's the kind of stuff people in your bracket do, and you need to capitalize on their mistakes rather than expecting them to make them. Okay, so not pushing tower, not taking lane. We are taking runes. Which rune? This rune. What's near that rune that I can do in the next 20 seconds? That's like accomplishing something.
Right. The bottom, the camp.
The pull camp.
The camp on the 5 spirits, yep.
The pull camp, most notably. Isn't that accomplishing something? Like, the lane now gets pushed. We're not pushing the tower. Lane equilibrium's pushed out. Pull camp. So, at 9:45, I can pull this camp, pull it, help my Weaver's lane equilibrium, then go pick up the rune.
Interesting. So it's almost like thinking how to support the Weaver while being slightly defensive based on the potential risk of your enemy doing something that you should be expecting them to do, even though at this bracket they don't do.
Yes. So the way I look at Dota, right, is all you're doing is processing how much information, and then what ends up happening is the better you are at Dota, the more important things you'll prioritize, and the faster you'll process it. I will tell you right now, that whole decision would take me a second.
Yep.
Okay? Like, I'm not bragging. It's practice, it's skill, meaning like you get used to you get situational awareness. I would know on a Phoenix, like if I had played enough Phoenix games, I would know I'm not tower pushing here with this rotation. Like, my intention of this rotation was not to tower push. I know I'm not taking his lane either. So, like, those two situations don't even occur to me, like, meaning I don't even consider those. I know for a fact now I can't lane anymore. I immediately look at the timer. I see that it's 9:39. I know I want the runes next. I know the only thing I can do in the meantime is pulling. So I'm going to go from this to walking over and pulling instantly. And I know, like, what determines whether or not I go buy a wand before I do that?
It was, to be honest, I think it was a bad mistake too.
No, I'm saying what determines for me, if we're now doing things perfectly, if I go buy a wand or not.
If the line was going to pick up the rune.
No, if it's 9:32.
Wait, 39 or 32?
I'm saying, if it's 9:32, and I did all of that information processing, and I realize I have an extra 6 seconds.
Right, okay.
Do you see the difference here? Okay?
Yeah.
So, like, the times where people don't go to the side shop randomly, and even though it makes sense that they would, usually high-level players, it's because they realized they didn't have that extra 4 seconds to, like, go.
Right, so you're also, you can also start, like, in your case, you're thinking about how long it takes from, position, there to the shop to the rune.
Yes.
Did you guys actually think about that sort of time?
Oh, no. So what we think about is, at least from my perspective, but I'm pretty sure it's very similar amongst other players, is I think to myself all the things I just said to you, that whole process, and then I'm like, okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is the rune, and before I go to the rune, I'm going to pull. How long do I have to get here? That's how it goes for me. So, like, I come to the conclusion of what I want to do next, and then how much spare time do I have between the time that I am doing whatever I'm doing now and pull cam. So I look at your spare time and you say, and I know for a fact you don't have any time to do anything but walk immediately over to that pull camp, right? Like you have to do that right now. Yeah. Otherwise you're not going to make it. And it's even going to be close. It's going to be close. You're going to make it, but it's really close. Like you have to go right now. You have no time to process that. Meaning like, no offense, I wouldn't ever expect you to process it that quickly. What I would expect you to do is come to this entire conclusion by 9:43 and be like, shit. Next time. You know what I'm saying? Like, meaning you try to go over to the pole camp, you barely miss it, and you're like, next time. But then you still go pick up the rune. Like,
yeah, it's actually interesting how you talk about, like, prioritizing my position as an offlaner. And I'm just trying to think that why would I have picked the magic one? And it might have just been sort of like a selfish solo play. But yeah, point noted on pulling plus rune, because it adds that I could always go back and get my wand.
The point about the wand, legitimately, I'm not trying to insult you, is you didn't know what else to do, so you went and picked up a wand. Yeah. You knew the wand was something to do, which is correct, meaning you knew it was something to do, but it was only your highest priority because you didn't consider or didn't know about the better priorities. So I'm trying to tell you, whenever I gank a lane, those are the considerations I have. Am I taking the lane? Are we staying together and pushing this tower? Like, what am I doing here? You know, like, what did I accomplish by being here? Was it just a kill? Which is fine, which it was. That's what it was in this case. It was just a kill, which is fine. Now I'm leaving, right? And that, like, the disbursement factor, meaning, like, after you kill the guy, what's happening next, is one of the most crucial decisions of a gank. Why is it so crucial that I process this in 1 second compared to 4?
I'm guessing because there's a lot of lag time and recovery time after a gank. So,
true. So if you already are default going to have 5 or 10 seconds of recovery time from this gank,
make the most out of it.
He's now dead effectively for 11 to 5 seconds, 11 to 6 seconds. So if you take 4 seconds instead of 1, the time that he's dead effectively is like half efficiency for you. Right? What I'm saying about this is the time when you kill somebody, the goal is when you kill them to get as much done as possible while they're dead, because that's why you killed them. Right? So, like, meaning, yeah, the gold from killing them is nice, but in this patch, gold from killing is really not that much. So the main bonus you get from killing somebody is what gets done by the time they're alive again. So for me, if it's going to take you 5 to 10 seconds to recover, then you're effectively left with 6 to 11 seconds of actually getting shit done. So if it takes you 4 seconds to process instead of 1, you're now left with 8 to 2 seconds rather than, or sorry, 7 to 2 seconds rather than 10 to 5 seconds, which is like drastically less. You know what I'm saying? Like, in terms of percentages, it's like double almost how much time I have that he's dead that you compared to what you have. So that is why the importance of processing this information so quickly is so high, right? Like Dota that's what this is. Like, I don't want this to be overwhelming. I don't need you to do what I told you to do in 1 second. I need you to understand all of the potential important things that can happen after this kill. And eventually, because you are aware of what should happen in your mind after a kill, you'll start working on it every time you get a kill, right? And eventually your decision-making after kills will be very fast. Does that make sense, right? Like, that's the realistic expectation of you, right? Like, it's not like when somebody mentioned the importance of kills and, like, what I should do after, or me figuring out whatever happened in my career, that I suddenly did that in 1 second. You know what I mean? Like, that's you eventually learn things to consider. You know what I mean? Like, you learn more and more things. And sometimes if you watch other players, you'll watch them get a kill and you'll go watch the guy pull. Like, that's actually how I learned that kind of thing. I watched somebody get a kill and then they went and pulled the lane. And I was like, "Oh, why? Like, why did he go do that?" And it's like, well, if I really think about it, there's nothing else to do. Like, that's better. So, like, if you killed this guy and it's 9:53, are you going to go consider pulling?
No.
No, right? You're going to go get the rune. Because my logic of progression was my next major objective is the rune. Because it's 9:39. So now, like, you know, on a smaller scale, I said before you go pull, it's 9:20. So it's almost backtracking. It's so funny to me. Sorry, like, this is how complicated Dota is. If it's 9:32, I'm thinking, okay, major objective is rune. Next thing I'm going to do is go pull. I've got 7 seconds, so I'm going to go do that. Like, I'm going to go get my wand, then I'm going to go pull. Now, with 9:30... Go ahead.
Sorry, one thing that, like, you've pointed out that I actually just realized of this is I'm used to pulling as a safe lane support or offlane support, but not as an offlaner. So it's almost like having that all-rounder approach.
Lane equilibrium does not matter what role you are.
Yeah. No,
you know what I'm saying?
That's what I was pointing out, yeah.
Yeah, no, and that's important. Yeah, so I see what you're saying. No, it's a good point. My point is you have this decision tree, right? Major objective, next major objective, next major objective, meaning like, or minor objective or whatever. So in this case, the tier list of objectives is rune, then pull, then magic wand. How much of it can you do? So like if it was 9:32, you could do all three. If it's 9:39, you can only do the pull and the rune. If it's 9:50, you can only do the rune. You know what I'm saying? So like that's why the time is so important. Okay? And so my goal is for you to be able to consider all these minor objectives and the major one, and then based on the timer, you decide what you're going to do next very quickly. So I've noticed in your bracket a major thing people do, not just you, it's a major thing in your bracket, is the inefficiency of kills. It really is. It's that simple. Like, just whenever they get kills, doesn't matter what stage in the game they are, like, you kill somebody in the mid game for 30 seconds and you're Ursa. What should your immediate consideration be?
Wait, so is 30
I kill somebody 20 minutes into the game as Ursa. They're dead for 30 seconds. What's my consideration? I'm an Ursa. Can I Roche?
No.
What if I'm mid lane?
I-
Like, meaning they're dead for 30 seconds and I'm mid lane. Shouldn't I immediately could like go into Roche? Right? Like, but if I'm bottom,
But there's still four heroes on the map.
okay, so what if they have one hero that's meant to contest Roche and the other ones don't? But like at the same time, if I kill the guy mid and there's two top, one bottom, what's the benefit of running into Roche while they're dead on the mid laner?
You basically detract the other enemy heroes to come to you.
Their choice is to let me have Roche or collapse on the Roche pit with everybody, right? Like, that's their choices. Both of which are me as one hero influencing the entirety of the enemy team. Because usually how I'll look at it is if I'm Ursa and I kill their mid laner, what was their mid laner generally accomplishing just by existing?
Trying to slow you down.
He was
like,
near Roche. He's kind of like a free scout for them. He's like farming and like just being mid, and it's like being a scout for them. So the minute I kill him, I know the impact of that kill. Like, he's around the Roche pit. His team has to now worry about the Roche pit if they're any good. And that's the kind of stuff in your bracket. If you think that way, you'll immediately run into the Roche, and you'll punish the mistakes of these players because they won't process quickly enough that you went into the Roche pit because you got to kill mid. They didn't see you go into the Roche pit. Good players will know that that's a potential thing. So they'll like go check Roche, right? But that's how you punish your bad players in your bracket, is you thinking about these things better than they do. Like, that's just all it is.
Can you talk to me a bit more about after killing the hero in your lane? Like, what's the thought process? So obviously, like, depending on the timer, you could be, going to the runes or pulling camps or whatnot. But let's say as an offlaner, you've taken out a hero. Like, what's the sort of priority thinking tree of how you should be, doing next things? So
absolutely, because what you just did there is much less common than just killing the safe laner, right, for you? Like, so something you're going to do semi-often is just kill the carry, right? Yeah. So, sorry to interrupt you. Did you have anything else to say? I might have interrupted you.
No.
Okay.
You're
I'm just trying to get you the most out of your time. So, just to be clear, we got about 25 minutes left. So, basically, the way I look at this is, what are some important factors in the laning stage Ignore kills. Important things, mechanics, like status of the lane, that kind of stuff. What are important things to you?
Pushing objectives, pushing towers,
Okay.
and controlling like certain areas of the map through pushing towers.
No, I'm talking laning stage. Like
Oh, right.
5 minutes into the game. What are important things in your mind about the lane itself?
For me personally, probably getting like the first core item, or if I'm playing defensive, it's having enough survivability to play late game if that was the hero that I was playing.
Okay.
So not dying, or getting my core so I can be ahead.
Okay. So I ask these questions because I just want to know your mindset when I ask you that kind of question. That's what the goal is. I want to know what, whenever you answer, you're just telling me what the highest priority of your mind thinking is. Okay, so that's fine. So I'm going to like completely try to shift your like mindset here. So you're thinking at the 5 minute mark how your hero plays 30 minutes into the game. Okay, like that's what I'm getting. That's what I'm hearing here. Okay, so what I want you to now think about at 5 minutes is creep equilibrium, camps, like efficiency, tower pressure, whether or not you want the guy in your lane or not. So, okay, I'll give you a question. Do you want to consistently lane against a hero like Necro's Phoenix?
Do I want to contest against him?
Like, are you happy if you two are evenly leveled, contesting each other for CS the entire time?
No.
Why?
Because I know that when Necro is, has a few early items, he could essentially start zoning me out with an ogre.
He's just a strong laner that trades really well, is what we're arriving at, right? So when I kill him, do I want the lane when he comes back to be a normal looking lane that is static and just farming it?
No.
What do I want the lane to potentially look like?
Disrupt, put him out of position. So either creeps attacking the tower, so he needs to cast its spells under the tower, or even rotate one of his support, like ogre, to another lane. So ideally, it's he's not getting free farm. Or
the point is, you just don't want a standard lane, is what I'm saying. So like you're listing possibilities, which are absolutely fine. But that's the first step I want you to realize, is you don't want a consistent lane or like a standard lane. Let me look up my games real quick. I can't really pull off anything on the top of my head. This is something you need to watch for when you watch me or anybody else. Okay, the minute they get a kill, what is the situation of their lane at 5 minutes into the game? Okay, so what I mean by that is, do you want, like, if I'm a drow in the safe lane and I got a kill, do I want the lane to push at 5 minutes? If I'm a drow.
If you are a drow and you've killed them
at 5 minutes into the game, I'm like level 4 or 5. Do I want the lane to push?
Right. No.
I want it as close to my tower as possible, right?
Yeah.
So what am I going to do while they're dead? Or tell my support to do while they're dead?
You would pull the camp, or you would wait until you deny your creeps.
I'm doing whatever it takes, and you're absolutely right, those are options. I'm doing whatever it takes to get the lane near my tower. BSJ, why do you get so mad at your rank 100 supports or some shit when you get a kill and you're a drow and the lane's pushing and it's 9:20 or 9:30, sorry, and they can't manage to pull? Okay? Like, how hard is it to know as a drow I don't want the lane to push? Okay? They're rank 100, okay? Meaning like they're like 7.2k MMR. They should know as a drow I don't want the lane pushed, okay? Like, because why do I not want the lane pushed as a drow? Because I'm scared, right? I don't want to push the lane because I'm scared to be up here rather than down here if I'm a safe lane drow, right? So that's the kind of, my point is, what does your hero want? Does your hero want the lane near its own tower? Does the hero want to be pressuring the tower? Does the hero want to be trading consistently in the lane? So you want the lane to be normal when they come back. Are you avoiding the enemy? Are you trying to follow them? Meaning like, if I'm really strong compared to the other guy, I want him to be dealing with me as much of a percentage as possible, right? So, if I'm weaker than him, I want to be avoiding him as much as possible, right? Like, that makes sense, too. So, if I am stronger, if I'm weaker than him, and I get a kill, I am 90% of the time, from a safe lane perspective, probably gonna like push out the lane, kill 4 creeps, and then go single pull the small camp, something like that, right?
Yep.
Because that's a very dodgy move, meaning like I'm killing as many creeps as possible while he's dead, because if I just leave them there, he's gonna start denying me again when he comes right back to life. But then by pushing the lane and pulling it, I'm giving him that wave of farm, but I'm then pulling the lane back to my tower. I gave myself 4 creeps. He gets 4 creeps or 3 creeps or whatever. And if that's better than what it was when he's alive, that's great. Meaning, like, if I traded evenly with him, but that's why being weaker and being willing to accept that is okay, right? Because if I killed him and that made it so I got 4 creeps and then he gets 4 creeps, when he was alive, that wasn't happening, right? Like, he was getting way more creeps than me. So,
Yeah.
what I'm trying to say is, what do you want the lane to look like? And if you were in your dream world, what would it look like without him there? The only reason the lane doesn't look like what it looks like, the only reason the lane doesn't look like exactly what you want it to look like at any given situation is, one, you don't know what you want it to look like, meaning you don't think about it. But in this case, we're assuming you're going to think about it. But secondly, the other team, meaning like, if you want to push their tower, the only reason you're never going to push their tower in a real game is because there's a guy there. Right? Like, the only reason you're not going to get free farm is because there's a guy there. So what I think about, okay, just to sum this up in like one quick thought. What do I want from this lane in every regard? Lane equilibrium, farming, like efficiency of camps, like pushing the tower. What do I want from this lane in a dream situation? Meaning, like, I'm playing against a non-existent bot, okay? Like, and I'm just doing whatever I want in this lane. Now, out of all of those factors, what does that hero's existence stop me from doing? Okay? Does it stop me from farming freely? Does it make it so I have to trade? Does it make it so I can't push the tower? Does it make it so I can't get the jungle camp? Like, if I'm a safe lane carry, I'm considering I want to farm the lane and this camp. Does it stop me from doing that? Does it stop me from getting the runes? Okay? So guess what now goes through your mind when you kill that guy?
How to counter what they're trying to do as well.
Okay, so that's true.
think,
But so I had this whole list of things I want, right? Perfect situation. He's alive. He stops me from doing half of those things. So what should I attempt to accomplish while he's dead?
Try to fix the lane up to what the ideal situation.
Yeah, make it so whatever he was stopping me from doing while he's alive, I can do now, right? So, like, if I'm always thinking about what the opponent's stopping me from doing, the minute I kill him, I know exactly what I'm supposed to do because he was stopping me from doing it. That should be my first consideration, right? Like if I knew I couldn't push their safe lane tower, they couldn't push this tower because they have an offlane coddle. The second I kill him, I'm pushing the tower, or I'm at least considering it. Like, I'm literally saying, first thing I'm considering is, can I push this tower? He's dead. And then, like, if I'm like a quarter health with no regen or something, then I don't want to push that tower. But that should be my first consideration. Like, whatever he was stopping me from accomplishing. So, whenever you just get standard kills in your lane, if the guy was stopping you from getting CS, and the minute he comes back, you know he's going to stop you from getting CS, what should you do while he's dead?
Getting CS.
You should kill as many possible creeps as you can while he's dead, right? And if he was stopping you from controlling the lane equilibrium, but you'd rather have it be closer to your tower, then while he's dead, you're just going to deny as many fucking creeps as you can, right? Like, that's what you're going to do, because that's what you wanted out of the lane, but you couldn't do that because of him, right? So the point is, think about what they stop you from doing. When you kill them, do it. Or at least consider it. So if you want to be, say you're a Offlane Enchantress type hero, and you're against just a carry that can't deal with you. Something like a Spectre in this patch, right? A carry that just doesn't do anything to you. If you kill him, do you want to be in his face when he comes back alive?
Yeah.
Okay, so you want to be up in his personal space as often as possible. So by the time he's alive, what should you have accomplished by the time he's alive?
you should be as close to full health, full mana, as many items as possible to continue fucking him up. That's what you should be doing as Enchantress, right? Because that's what you want to be doing. I'm already doing it, but I want to make sure I'm doing it when he's alive again. Okay?
Yeah, maybe this is a good segue into the Enchantress, and let me know how time's going.
No, you're fine. I want to make sure we get every game, but sometimes like things you can just talk about so much. I think I have. I just realized I have mini-map overlay. Go ahead.
I actually like the analogy of because when you look at that game with Phoenix, it's almost like as at our level, it's like objective first, right? So pushing the first 3 towers and then controlling more map awareness. And then, what your other videos I've watched in the past has been, actually thinking from the other side of the table, i.e. what would your counter hero want to do or what not to do. Actually, going into this game is actually a very similar approach in that, I think I did everything right from a trading perspective, but, if we could start talking a bit more about how do you, let's say I did everything right in the first 10 minutes. I killed the hero.
Do you want me to fast forward to 10 minutes?
Yeah, feel free to do that.
Okay.
Because this is actually something that I have a lot of trouble with Enchantress in particular. Because, let's say I'm versing the, in this case it was the Doom for some reason. The Doom switched lanes and Kling sort of, just kept roaming around. So I feel as though I don't know what to do when the game is outside of just trading. So you've taken the first tower, you've taken the second tower. What do you do after that to keep your momentum? And that actually happens a lot with my Enchantress games where, I'm ahead, I have my farm, I have my kills, but I sort of just run around and I don't know how to finish. And then, the enemy gets the farm up and we just get destroyed. I think we were even like 2 racks down and we just didn't know how to close.
Okay. So, this is a perfect example, okay? So, what's the key? Okay, I'm because we only got about 15 minutes or 12 minutes actually. Sorry, I just had to make sure I'm on time for everybody. I'm doing an hour and 15 minutes for everybody is how I'm doing it. So, so basically when you're pressuring, you have to be as close to full health, full mana, full efficiency on items all times. Like meaning I can't be wasting 1,400 net worth. I can't be missing half mana or more the entire lane. I can't kill a guy, have half health, and then continue to pressure. On Enchantress, that doesn't necessarily apply as much because you'll just push E, and then you'll be back to full health. But on certain heroes, right? Like if you're trying to pressure, they have health issues, right? So that's why on a Weaver, for instance, like a perfect comparison to your Enchantress would be to watch my Weaver game right here, by the way. I played Offlane Weaver. I want you, for this concept, to watch my game, okay? Watch this game, like, after I talk to you about it, okay? So, perfect game to watch. I'm just sending you the game ID in our chat and then wrapping it up, talking about that game. Really good game for you to watch in terms of idea of pressure, okay? So, I look at this, and you have 1,000 gold. What are we buying next? Looks like a Hurricane Pike, maybe the Dragonlance. Your items so far are good. You kill this Doom, right? You kill him. Ogre Axe, 4 clarities, okay? Turn your Aquila on, kill this building, okay? Like, do you see my thought process here? Yeah. After you just got that kill. So, like...
Yeah, I know.
Go ahead.
No, you're right. Mana is an issue now that I think about it.
So, what I mentioned about the Enchantress against Spectre or whatever was I'm trying to pressure, right? That's what I'm trying to do. Like, I'm strong. I'm the better hero here, okay? So... my goal is to be up in their face as much as possible to my max strength. Like, meaning, however I can make my hero the most powerful version of itself, okay? So, right when I get a kill, what am I accomplishing while this guy's dead? I'm just going to continue what I'm already doing, right? Like, that's what I'm doing. I'm already, like, pressuring. I'm already killing. Is that going to change? Are they stopping me from doing that right now? No. So I need to just make sure on my end I can keep doing that, right? Like, that's all I need to do. So that's why people buy 17 clarities over the course of 10 minutes rather than buying a Soul Ring, for instance, because they couldn't afford to stop and buy 800 gold of a Soul Ring at once rather than just buying 50 gold in small increments and continuously doing this, right? That's the idea. You can buy 800 gold worth of clarities instead of a soul ring, and your pressure will look way different, okay? Because you're buying it in increments of 50, so if you had 700 gold, you'd buy the rest of your Aquila plus a clarity instead of investing in a soul ring to slow down your Aquila. You see like what I'm saying on that one? Okay, so like when you're Enchantress, honestly, your items are really good. You should turn your Aquila on. That's a small thing, but that's all I'm going to mention about that. Your items are good. The way you're overall playing on the map is great. But now, like this is above 3K level for sure. But, like, you need to push that to the next step of, I have Aquila on, I killed the guy, Courier's at base, right? So, like, there's no business that this should ever stay at your base. You should have had an Ogre Axe and 5 clarities. Or, honestly, I'd buy a lot of clarities. Like, because the only reason I buy so many clarities is because the only potential issue you could have is mana. And, like, look, right? You literally have to stop pressuring because you don't have mana. Like,
Yeah.
and so now, wait, time out. What's your job in this game?
Should keep pressuring top.
Okay, what's this? What are you doing? How many heroes on your team can pressure top?
Yeah, I think I just pushed it out without the mana.
No. So listen to me for a second. How many heroes on your team can pressure top?
Let me see. Where's DK? DK's still farming. I think it's just us, me and Lena, but Lena's gone.
It's you.
So yeah.
Like not just Lena. Like Lena's gonna like maybe look to play around you for kills. He shouldn't honestly be showing in lane. So in the grand scheme of things, how many heroes on your team can pressure top?
Yeah, just one. Me.
You. So what should you be your sense of urgency to get back to top?
Which is a bit more health and some clarities.
I'm saying your sense of urgency should be incredibly high. Meaning, you should be doing whatever the fuck it takes to get back to top as soon as possible. So what does that look like right now? How many heroes on your team can farm this mid lane safely?
Pretty much all of them.
Okay, so that's understanding map priorities. That's like step 7 on map priorities, okay? How many heroes can do what I'm doing? How many heroes can do something that I can do? Meaning, I can go push top and pressure it. How many heroes on my team can do that? Me. How many heroes on my team can do what I'm doing right now? Unacceptable. That is what I mean when I'm talking about people on the map, and I'm like, this guy is stealing my farm. What the fuck? And people, will type in chat, Baby Rage, BSJ's farm, whatever, my farm. And the reason why I'm saying it's my farm is if I was the Lena in this case, I'd be bitching to you that you stole my farm. Because this is your farm. This is not your farm, okay? So, like, because you're allowed to take this farm, and especially because he just used Doom, okay? So, like, even more so, that's the point, though, is you're saying you feel like you taper off on a hero like Enchantress. It's because your sense of urgency is not there. It's really that simple. Like, your job is to be top, you know that, and for whatever reason, like, meaning you don't have mana, and for whatever reason, because you don't have mana, what that means to you is, I can't go top, instead of, I need to have fucking mana so I can go top. Okay, you see the difference in thought there. So my idea is, Ogre Axe, you still have all this time in the world to process this. Meaning, like, I told you I would have processed it the second I killed Doom. Okay, like top. That was like 45 seconds ago. Now you're like, oh, I don't have mana. Ogre Axe, 4 clarities, Shrine, run top. You know what I'm saying? Like that should be what happens right now. Okay, like you have all the. Meaning, what I'm saying is, I didn't need you to play the 7K version of where you killed the guy, you got an Ogre Axe, you got 4 clarities. I needed you sometime between now and then, which is 45 seconds, to process that you still need to be top and you needed full mana to be top, or as close to full mana as possible. So at this point, nothing else matters to you other than the fact that you need to be top. Because you clearly knew that, okay? Like, meaning, based on the way you've been playing, you clearly knew you had to be top. Now, don't stop being top. Like, just don't stop. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Especially after you forced a Doom and everything. Go ahead. You were going to say something?
Yeah, I think it's just, like, discipline of objectives, which is where I think, like, it's just being thrown off. And when you say, like, the whole, just it's as simple as, buffing up, like, increasing your mana through clarities. Like, it's something I'll focus on next game. Yeah.
By the way, never drop your treads. Just turn them to agility. But when you're shrining, literally just change them to agility. Sorry, that was like a really small thing. I don't think I've ever seen that, though. That was pretty funny. Sorry, I don't know if that's mean, but that was pretty funny. So, like, should you ever be participating in this fight? What percentage of games should you be in this fight?
I think it should have. I should have been pushing top.
And
again, like it's a problem of like not knowing what to do when I don't know what to do.
okay, so
Like,
okay, go ahead. I'm just trying to make sure you get as much
like,
as precision as possible.
That's an overkill. As in, you had 3 heroes versus 2. I
Okay.
could have, gotten my, I already had my TP, so I should have gone back top. And Doom was just free farming, and I would have been able to, punish him.
My idea for you about this fight bottom, and I just want to be very clear, is you can potentially show up to fights bottom. I don't want you to realize, or I don't want you to think because of what I'm telling you that you're never allowed to be bottom. But what is your first and foremost priority? Pressuring top. So when are you allowed to come bottom?
When top is taken over, or when I've taken over that tower.
When it's sufficiently pressured, and you can leave for like 30 seconds. Okay. So my question is, if you don't take this tower, and you're pressuring it though, and you see a fight going on bottom that you TP to and you kill 2 heroes, what are you doing after you kill those 2 heroes?
Pressuring bot tower.
You have not taken this tower yet, and your job is to pressure this tower top, and you TP bottom and kill 2 heroes. What are you doing immediately after that fight?
Running back top.
Running all the way back to top. Are you stopping and jungling? Are you stopping and hitting mid?
No.
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 Right? But if you took this tower, so your job top is now done, right? Like, you took this tower, so you're now done, top? What are you doing after you kill 2 heroes bottom? You already said it.
As in, like, in this, I think I just went to push bot.
Then you look to pressure bottom, right? Like, you look to go pressure somewhere else. Sometimes it could be mid, maybe, if tier 1 was still there. Maybe it's this tower, right? But your job is to pressure top until that tier 2 is dead. If you do anything else, that is fine, okay? Meaning, you TP to a fight mid. You TP to a fight bottom real quick because you just feel like you're really powerful or whatever. That is all fine and dandy, okay? As long as you understand that your first and foremost job is to pressure top, and the minute that fight or whatever stops happening, you are bolting back to top. Like, go shrine real quick, fly yourself some clarities, like giving yourself all of the items you need, running like as safe of a direct line as you possibly can, back to the top lane. Like, that's the point, is understanding your job in the game. So you clearly knew you were supposed to pressure top, right? Like, you clearly knew that based on your items as well as the way you were playing for the first 11 minutes. But then, like you said, like, discipline or whatever, for whatever reason, 2 things go wrong, meaning your teammate gets doomed and you're out of mana, and you just give up. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just stopped. And that is not how it goes, right? Like, if you want to play very efficiently, it is, okay, my problem is I don't have mana, I need to fix that and then go back top, rather than I don't have mana to go top, so I'm just not going to go top. You know, like, that's the example I give. So, like, this is a big thing where when I'm like a carry, I think of what my next objective is. So if my first objective as a carry is to push this tower when we're behind, right? That's what I talk about. The enemy safe lane is the most important tower to take whenever you're behind. Okay? So what part of the map am I going to be farming? If I'm a safe lane carry on Radiant, meaning I'm Radiant, I started here, and I know that this tower is my next objective. Where am I farming on the map?
Just the camp, either depending on how risky I want to be, it's either in the safe, the shrine there, near our shrine camp, or if you want to be a bit more aggressive, up top, around there.
Yeah, okay, perfect. But it's based on your safety, right? But I'm going to be farming here. So, if this is my next objective, and I'm a Luna, and a fight goes on mid, am I allowed to go to it? With Eclipse?
If I have my ulti?
Yeah. Am I allowed to go here, take a fight?
If I have my ulti, then I would probably prioritize that fight versus pushing.
Okay, so if after that fight, where do I go?
I go back to top.
Right back to top.
Right,
that's the point, though, is you're allowed to show up to fights, but I know my objective is this, and the only exception is if we, like, wipe them 4 for 0 and we can take this, right? Like that would be an exception, right? But, like, the rule is we get, like, one crucial... But we're behind in this situation, so we kill their mid or something with our Eclipse, and we immediately go back to what we were doing. Like, that's the point, though, is you're allowed to fight, you're allowed to do other things, but right when the fight ends, going back to whatever you were doing. It's the idea with fights. It's the idea with kills. It's the idea when you take a tower. It's like when you took this tier 1 tower, you consciously made a decision to say, I'm either done pressuring top or I need to keep pressuring this. Right?
Yeah.
Like, that's the conscious decision that you had to make. Maybe you didn't think about it, how much you made that decision, but you made the conscious decision to continuously pressure top, which was correct. But, like, that's the point I'm trying to make, is that is the important part of what I'm seeing here, is your sense of urgency to continue doing what you're... Like, between the time of 12 minutes, Doom was level 6 at 12 minutes into the game. Look at how much he's gotten between the 2 minutes you left top. How much of that would he have gotten? Right? Like, he would still be, like, maybe level 7. Maybe. Like 12 minutes into the game when you, like, were fucking up top. He's level 6. Okay, wait. When he gets this kill. He has 400 gold and he's level 6. You relieved pressure for 2 minutes. He, like... He gets 1,000 gold in 2 levels.
Yeah, I think it's also using your previous advice on understanding the best position for your enemy here as well. Like, you would want to have that free space, and yeah, even if you lose 2 heroes in that fight, like, he basically farmed, I think, 3 waves off that.
Yeah, if you're forcing him back to base and then you TP to this fight, that's great, honestly. Like, in every game, what your pressure is accomplishing is different, right? I mean, you could be taking the tower, you could be making it so this guy's game is hell, whatever it is, right? As long as you accomplish that to some extent, and then you show up to the fight, that's great. Like, do that, okay? So, but then what's the decision between whether or not you TP to the fight or you continue doing what you're doing top? How do you decide?
When I've done sufficiently what my original objective was.
That's true. But also just like at the current moment, am I more impactful by killing 1 or 2 heroes bottom or by ruining the guy top? Like, what is more impactful? Right? Meaning certain games it's different. Like if they have a snowballing mid and you see an opportunity to TP in and kill that guy, that's probably a big deal. But like if it's their safe lane carry, that's like their late game, like not this game, but like their late game prowess or whatever, if you just keep pressuring him and keep screwing him over, it doesn't really matter what else happens in the game if you just keep doing that. You know what I mean? So that comes down to, if you have the choice between pressuring top and showing up to the fight, then you're just asking yourself which one is better. Like in any game, like it can be one or the other. Meaning it doesn't. There's no right or wrong answer. But that's what I'm trying to explain. Is I apologize, man. We are gonna have to wrap it up, but I feel like even though we talked a little bit or like a lot about a little bit of things, I feel like for you, the point that I try to make every session that somehow comes up is this decision-making tree that I've given you. Is it any different at 40 minutes as it is to now?
I hope not.
It isn't, but there's just more complications, meaning there's more items, there's more stuff to do, there's more, things to consider, okay, at 40 minutes. So if you can't make these decisions properly at 9:39 to go pull that camp and get the rune, are you going to make the decisions properly at 40? No. So my goal for you is all this decision-making shit, I want people to realize, and yourself included here, that it's just going to get better if you clean it up in the first, 10 or 15 minutes. Because once you understand all the factors that go into it 10 or 15 minutes into the game, then you can start working towards understanding all the factors that go into it 25, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 50 minutes into the game. Okay? And that's why even at the pro level, things turn to real shit like an hour into the game. Because even pros can't consider that stuff fast enough sometimes at 60 minutes into the game. Like, they just can't. There's so many things to think about. They'll forget one and die. Or they'll forget one and look like an idiot. Whatever. And so, my purpose is, even though we only went over the first 15 minutes, this can be clean up your decision-making for all of the game, as long as you understand that I'm basically giving you course 101, meaning if you can, once you apply it in 5 to 10 minutes into the game, then you can start applying it 15, then 20. That's basically what I did this entire year. But that was me at 6K, 7K, then learning this stuff at the max level. I want you to know it exists and slowly increase that. That's your goal. And I feel like you have a clear understanding, like you're buying the right items and shit. So like that, like I know that sounds like not much to say, but you have a clear cut, like you do pay attention. You are paying attention to the meta. You are knowing what your heroes are supposed to be doing. So now thinking about these little things, having the discipline, having that sense of urgency, and thinking about to yourself what you need in order to do what you're supposed to do at all times is going to be what you need to do. The camera work, the items, the like after you get a kill, where are you going next? That kind of decision making is huge for you. I think you're already better than 3.5k, to be frank. Like I feel like you just haven't played enough or something. Like I feel like what I'm watching is better than 3.5k. But I also think there's obviously like clear cut room for improvement. Like I'm not saying you're 7k. I just think like I would guess you're somewhere in the 4k range, based on the way you're playing. So, I think you'll just gain MMR over time, especially if you start thinking about this stuff. But any other questions before we wrap it up, dude?
No, I'll go watch the Wii U game.
Yeah, definitely watch like the difference between like so understanding that constant pressure, like choosing my next objective based on their heroes, and like understanding that I choose pressure over anything else in all circumstances. And that's how you need to think about all these pressure offlaners, the Weavers, the Enchantresses, the Necros, and that's how you need to approach those heroes. So. Sounds good, man.
Thanks for the help.
Yeah, no problem, dude. You know, I obviously went hard, but either way, you did good, man. I appreciate it, and good luck with your climb and stuff.
Yeah, you too, man. Take care.
Yeah. See